in a standoff, staring foolishly at each other. Shen Qingyan's mind was a little fuzzy. At this moment, the girl felt her body go a little limp, unable to exert any strength. As for me, I didn't even dare to move. I swallowed hard. I looked at the school beauty deskmate beneath me and spoke with a slight tremble. If I turn myself in now, how many years will I get? That one sentence broke the frozen, awkward atmosphere. Shen Qingyan's mood was originally embarrassed and flustered, but when she heard my words that made one both angry and amused, plus my trembling, sweat-drenched appearance, she suddenly felt that her embarrassment and panic had mostly disappeared. Looking at my expression, Shen Qingyan's heart stirred. As if possessed, she blurted out a sentence. How does it feel? I was stunned when I heard that. Once, I reacted. I moved my right hand away from my school beauty deskmate in a flash. It doesn't feel like anything. The girl raised a delicate eyebrow. As if persisting with her questioning, is it soft? That sentence nearly floored me. Damn, is this something we can talk about? I replied in horror. I don't know. But in the girl's eyes, she only felt that I seemed to have become shy. When the other person is shyer than you yourself will no longer be shy. At this moment, Shen Qingyan became even bolder. Then try again. I shook my head like a rattle drum. No. No way. Try it. No. 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 Then give it a squeeze. I scrambled to get off of Shen Qingyan, but the girl was quick-witted. Her slender, fair hand reached forward, grabbing my collar and pulling me down once again. I was on top of my school beauty deskmate again. This time, the two of us were practically glued together from the waist up, face to face, only inches apart, so close that I could even feel the warm, fragrant breath of Shen Qingyan as she breathed. The eyes of the girl in front of me narrowed slightly. The corners of her mouth curved into an arc, as enchanting as a nine-tailed fox, with a half-smile, trying to leave after taking advantage of me. Outside the bedroom door, a series of footsteps approached from a distance. The familiar voice of a middle-aged woman rang out. Yi Chen. You're back. Why are there two pairs of shoes at the door? Is it Xiao Xu? In an instant, my face turned pale with horror. Shen Qingyan's beautiful face also changed slightly. But before the two of us could separate, with a creak, the bedroom door was pushed open. Mother Jiang, Zhao Shuqin, pushed the door and walked in. She was about to open her mouth and say, "This child of mine brings a classmate home without giving any prior notice." Then, when Zhao Shuqin looked up, she saw the scene by the bed. A young man on top of a young woman, frozen in an extremely intimate and ambiguous position. The atmosphere froze once again. Mother Jiang seemed to come to her senses and coughed. She muttered, "Ah, I forgot my glasses. I am getting old. My eyesight is getting worse. Can't see a thing." While muttering, Mother Jiang quietly and slowly backed out the way she came, and even closed the door behind her on her way out. Shen Qingyan and I reacted. I scrambled off the bed and rushed out the door. Mom, listen to my explanation. At the dinner table that evening, after hearing the explanations from both me and Shen Qingyan, Father Jiang and Mother Jiang finally understood. So that's how it is. Shen Qingyan sat next to me. At this moment, the girl facing Father Jiang and Mother Jiang appeared composed and well-behaved. Her face slightly flushed. She seemed a little shy. Yes, so it was thanks to Wei Chen that I got home. I am just afraid I've troubled you, Auntie and Uncle. Father Jiang waved his hands repeatedly upon hearing this. Not at all. Not at all. It's no trouble. You kids are classmates, and you're even deskmates. It's only right for deskmates to help each other. While speaking, Father Jiang's eyes kept darting back and forth between Shen Qingyan and his son, his face glowing with a healthy, ruddy complexion. Mother Jiang beside them was even more enthusiastic, putting food into Shen Qingyan's bowl. Here. Qingyan, you must be hungry, right? Eat up. Treat this place like your own home. Don't be a stranger. Shen Qingyan nodded and said, yes, smiling sweetly at the two elders in front of her. Thank you, Auntie and Uncle. Just that smile alone almost melted Father and Mother Jiang's hearts, so the couple became even more enthusiastic, vying to put food into Shen Qingyan's bowl. In an instant, the bowl in front of the girl was piled high like a small mountain. I, sitting beside her, was completely ignored and left out in the cold. I glanced at the empty rice bowl in front of me, then at the treatment my school beauty deskmate was receiving. I raised my hand in protest. Hey, what about me? Father and Mother Jiang glanced over. You? Oh, then they immediately turned their heads back in unison, continuing to enthusiastically greet and care for the girl beside me. A happy and harmonious dinner. I became a pitiful outsider completely, casually treated like air and ignored by my own parents. Shen Qingyan was composed and graceful. Eating in small bites, her demeanor was impeccable, like a well-bred lady. Looking at the girl, Father and Mother Jiang found her more and more pleasing to the eye. The more they looked, the more they liked her. While continuing to enthusiastically put food into Shen Qingyan's bowl, they chatted with the girl. And as they talked, the couple was surprised to find that even in terms of conversation topics, the girl in front of them was incredibly compatible with their personalities and interests. On a whim, Father Jiang couldn't help but open a bottle of ergot. pouring himself 2 glasses and drinking until his face was flushed. When chatting with Mother Jiang, it was all sorts of trivial matters of life, neighborhood gossip, regarding daily cleaning, organizing, and storage at home, and some expenses. The girl could also join Zhao Shuqin and have an engaging and agreeable conversation. She even shared and contributed to Mother Jiang a few small money-saving tips, which left Mother Jiang both surprised and delighted. I listened from the side, completely dumbfounded. I looked at Shen Qingyan as if I'd seen a ghost. Damn, how did she do that? This woman came to my house once and conquered my parents on the spot in just a few minutes. The Ice Queen's charm knows no age. Does it truly captivate both men and women? And at the same time, the girl casually lowered her eyes, the corner of her mouth twitching slightly. In her previous life, she had long understood the personalities and hobbies of the two elders. As the conversation drew to a close, Mother Jiang couldn't help but ask about the girl's family situation. Facing the question, Shen Qingyan smiled politely and answered truthfully. My father is in business and isn't usually in Yunnan. I live alone in Yunnan. I have a driver and a housekeeper to take care of me. As for my mother, at this point, the girl paused. She looked up at Father and Mother Jiang and smiled calmly. My mother passed away from an illness when I was little. That one sentence made the happy atmosphere at the dinner table suddenly become heavy. I was also a bit stunned when I heard it. I glanced at my school beauty deskmate beside me. In my past life, I didn't have much interaction with the girl beside me. The Ice Queen at school had a cold personality, always coming and going alone. Very few classmates knew her specific family situation. It turns out that such a perfect girl, admired by countless people and longed for, also had a heartbreaking, heavy side that no one knew about. Her mother passed away early. Her father was busy with work abroad. The girl's childhood was always lonely. Even a luxurious villa couldn't truly bring the warmth of a family. No wonder she developed such a cold, solitary personality. Father and Mother Jiang felt they had misspoken and quickly apologized and offered comfort. But Shen Qingyan just took a soft breath and shook her head with a smile. It's all right. I am used to it. Besides, at this point, the girl changed the subject, smiling again at Father and Mother Jiang. I should be the one thanking you. I took the liberty of bothering you today. I didn't expect you to be so friendly, treating me so well. Father Jiang wasn't good with words. He downed another glass of wine himself, then continued to put food into the girl's bowl nonstop. Mother Jiang was even more sentimental, her eyes turning red. She reached out and took the girl's hand. You silly child. From now on, just treat this as your home, if you don't mind. I'll take care of you as if you were half a daughter to me. I, who was quietly eating by myself, suddenly looked up in a daze, and Shen Qingyan was also stunned when she heard it. Actually, this familiar scene. In her previous life, when she first met my parents, she had also experienced it. During their interactions, despite suffering the pain of losing their son, the couple still used such kindness and sincerity to bring her warmth and move her, which was why, initially, it wasn't just because she felt guilty about me saving her life, but that she truly respected and loved Father and Mother Jiang from the bottom of her heart, sincerely treating them as her own family. So, at the dinner table, on the girl's charming little face, an expression of pleasant surprise couldn't help but appear. She seemed to speak with hesitation and anticipation. Then, can I call you Mom? Mother Jiang was on the verge of tears, nodding her head excitedly and joyfully. Of course. The girl tentatively ventured. Mom. Mother Jiang beamed. Yes. The atmosphere suddenly became cheerful and harmonious. Listening from the side, my whole body froze on the spot. Mother Jiang's gaze happened to sweep over, and she immediately frowned. Yi Chen. What's with that expression? Do you have an opinion? Shen Qingyan also glanced over, her eyes landing on me. Her expression was a little downcast. If Yi Chen doesn't want to, then forget it. Father Jiang slammed the table, his voice powerful. He dares? The couple's gazes immediately became sharp as knives, shooting towards their son. I don't have an opinion. Faced with the authority of my parents, I could only obediently admit defeat, but I couldn't help but have black lines on my forehead. Glancing at my school beauty deskmate beside me, the latter appeared obedient and well-behaved, her eyes lowered. In a corner where others couldn't see, the corner of Shen Qingyan's mouth was about to curve up to the sky, reborn for another life. The strategy to conquer Yi Chen's parents has succeeded for a second time. She had been calling them Mom and Dad for a long time in her previous life. It's only logical to resume it in this life. After dinner was over, Mother Jiang pulled Shen Qingyan to sit down on the sofa for a heart-to-heart chat about everything. Unknowingly, the sky gradually darkened. Zhao Shuqin grew more and more fond of the girl, reluctant to let her go. Seeing it was almost time to leave, Mother Jiang suddenly had an idea. Her eyes immediately lit up. How about this? Qingyan, don't go back tonight. Stay the night. As soon as Mother Jiang spoke, the living room fell silent for a moment. I, sitting beside her, looked up with a dumbfounded expression. The house only has 2 bedrooms and 1 living room, plus half a study. How could we have someone stay the night? But looking at my excited and happy mother, and then at my father beside her, also beaming with joy, nodding continuously in agreement, I didn't dare to ask. If she stays the night, where do I sleep? With my understanding of my parents, If I just asked, I'd probably be dragged into the study by them, or kicked straight out the door, to make room for my school beauty deskmate. Luckily, upon hearing Mother Jiang's enthusiastic invitation, Shen Qingyan just smiled, thanked her, and politely declined. It's not convenient today. I haven't informed my family in advance, and I haven't prepared any belongings. There will be opportunities in the future. There's still plenty of time. When she said the last sentence, the girl seemed to glance at me unintentionally. It seemed to have a deep, hidden meaning. I immediately felt a chill down my spine, hearing Shen Qingyan say this. Father and Mother Jiang, though a bit regretful, still agreed to accept it. In the end, they decided to have me take Shen Qingyan home. The couple reluctantly saw their newly adopted daughter to the door. Mother Jiang held Shen Qingyan's hand, giving all sorts of instructions. Be careful on the way. The girl smiled brightly and nodded. Yes, thank you, Mom. That Mom was said so naturally. It almost melted Zhao Shuqin's heart. She turned her head to look at her son beside her, immediately becoming stern. If you don't escort her carefully, it'll have your head. Father Jiang thought for a moment, couldn't think of anything better to say, and echoed with a stern face. Your mother is right. My status in the family seemed to have dropped another level. Riding my bike with my school beauty deskmate on the back, the summer night breeze blew against my face, fresh and cool. On both sides of the road were the lights of countless homes. At this moment, I felt a strange sense of peace in my soul. In the past, a scene like this was always me rushing by on my bike alone. Perhaps because I've been reborn for another life, I had more of a mood for appreciation and nostalgia. Moreover, it seemed that not only my mood had changed, feeling the weight on the backseat of the bike, knowing it was my deskmate sitting behind me, made me unable to help but let out a small smile. Regardless of whether our relationship deepens or not, but on a fresh summer night like this, having someone with me instead of being alone couldn't help but make one's mood become happier. I rode all the way into the Coral Garden residential area, taking my school beauty deskmate to the front door of her villa. As I turned with my bike, intending to leave, my school beauty deskmate called out to me, Jiang Yichen. I turned my head to look back. Standing on the steps in front of her house, my school beauty deskmate was looking at me, her eyes sparkling. Thank you. I scratched my head. It's nothing. Deskmates help each other out. I paused for a moment, then added with lingering fear. If I didn't take you home, my mom would kill me. That sentence made Shen Qingyan, with her cold image, unable to hold back her laughter. She let out a soft chuckle. Under the warm yellow streetlights, shining on the girl's exquisite and captivatingly beautiful face, that smile almost made me stare blankly. Coming back to my senses, I immediately felt a bit awkward. Scratching my hair, looking left and right, I happened to see the Maybach Park nearby. I conveniently brought up a topic. Oh, right. Where's Uncle Joe? Is his health any better? The girl also stopped laughing, returning to her nonchalant demeanor. He's sick. He hasn't recovered yet. So he'll still have to trouble you for a while longer. I nodded absent-mindedly, then seemed to think of something. I hesitated for a moment, then looked at my school beauty deskmate. The college entrance exam scores are coming out soon. When it's time to fill out applications, have you thought about where you want to go? Shen Qingyan paused, not answering directly. Instead, she looked at me, her eyes flashing slightly. Where do you want me to go? I was stunned, pretending to be casual. With your estimated score, whether it's Tsinghua or Beta, it shouldn't be a problem, right? Of course, if you're in the liberal arts stream, then objectively speaking, Beta is a little better. As soon as these words left my mouth, I suddenly felt a little empty inside, as if my heart ached a little. The girl raised an eyebrow. Objectively speaking. What about subjectively? I was a bit flustered by the question. Subjectively speaking, as a good deskmate, a good friend. Of course, I hope we can continue to be together in the future. Then I hurriedly added, but this matter. A deskmate's opinion isn't important. It mainly depends on you. Have you thought carefully about where you want to go? The question was thrown back to my school beauty deskmate, and seeing someone's guilty look, the corner of Shen Qingyan's mouth twitched slightly. Her tone was still casually indifferent. I've thought about it. I was stunned. I couldn't help but ask. Where? Shen Qingyan smiled faintly. It's a secret. You'll know when the time comes. The girl turned to look at the boy in front of her and smiled. Jiang Yichen, good night. After saying that, the girl turned to leave, walking gracefully towards her door, leaving me with only her beautiful, graceful, and elegant back. A few days later, under everyone's anticipation, the 2007 National College Entrance Exam scores were released. 10 p.m. on June 22nd, the channels for checking college entrance exam scores via phone and internet were announced. Yunnan High School is a key provincial high school. The acceptance rate for the first-choice university was 62%. The schools recognize Ice Queen Goddess, Shen Qingyan, with a high score of 659, became the county's top scorer. I, as her deskmate, became the second highest scorer with 652 points. 3 days later, the application registration system opened. A shocking piece of news quickly spread throughout Yunnan High School, causing a huge sensation. The top and second highest scorers of this year's college entrance exam both chose Donghai University as their first choice. The The college entrance exam results of Yunnan High School were quite outstanding, and the students of class 12 to 10 also performed very well in this exam. Yang Yuting scored 594 points, definitely passing the cutoff for first-choice universities. She successfully applied to Hangcheng University of Technology. Xu Feng also scored 562 points, although not enough for a first-choice university. He still had many options among second-choice schools to work with. He filled out all his applications without hesitation to universities in Hangcheng. When the homeroom teacher received the class score summary, his old face was about to bloom, smiling like a chrysanthemum flower. But when he discovered that the first and second-ranked students in his class had both given up Tsinghua and Beta to apply to Donghai University, the homeroom teacher's face immediately turned pale. He immediately rushed to call the two living ancestors, trying his best to persuade them. The answers he received from both of them were almost identical. Shen Qingyan said calmly on the phone, "What suits me is the best." I, on the other end, was even simpler. I agree with the person above, but back on Penguin, chatting with Shen Qingyan, I couldn't help but ask, was it because of what I said that day that you applied to Donghai University? The girl's reply seemed casually indifferent. Of course not. I just also feel that Donghai University suits me better. It's just a coincidence. She then sent another message. Her tone was joking. Besides, I had a dream. In my dream, I've already studied at Tsinghua and Beta at a small eatery. Xu Feng angrily slammed the table. Coincidence, my ass. You didn't go to Tsinghua or Beta, but to Donghai. The class president followed you to Donghai. This is clearly because of you, Brother Chen. I thought for a moment and nodded. That's right. Xu Feng continued passionately, practically foaming at the mouth. Brother Chen, if you still say it's a reasonable coincidence now, believe it or not, he'll fight you to the death right now. Yeah. Suddenly stunned, Xu Feng's eyes widened. Brother Chen, what did you say? I nodded seriously. I said it's not a coincidence. Her choosing Donghai University is at least partly because of me. 2 lifetimes, my school beauty deskmate went to Tsinghua and Beta in her previous life. In this life, she changed her decision. The biggest variable can only be myself, a reincarnator. Moreover, over the past 2 months, spending every day together with so many things happening, I am actually not an idiot. I can feel the girl's feelings. Xu Feng couldn't help but beam with joy. Holy crap. That's great. Brother Chen, you've finally figured it out. Since you're sure about the class president's feelings, then what are you waiting for? Attack directly. Take her down in one go. But at this moment, I hesitated. No way. Why not? I shook my head. My expression serious. It's just that I feel this affection came too suddenly. That's right. In my past life, I was deskmates with the school beauty for 3 years. It was as bland as plain water. In this life, the girl's initiative and kindness came so unexpectedly. I can't see the reason or basis for it. It naturally makes one hesitate and feel confused. If I were really an 18-year-old teenager, faced with such affection from the school beauty deskmate, I would surely have been overjoyed and actively accepted it. But the problem is, I am now actually a mature soul over 30 years old. I will think more, be calmer, and also more rational. The school beauty deskmate's feelings for me are indeed unconcealed. But if the reason isn't clear, then it might just be a momentary impulse. For me, being able to date the school beauty is naturally no loss at all. It's a huge gain. But for the school beauty deskmate herself, if it's just a hasty decision, this might not be a good thing. Xu Feng was speechless after hearing this. He couldn't help but ask, "So, Brother Chen, what do you plan to do next?" I narrowed my eyes. With a calm demeanor. Nothing at all. In the milk tea shop, sitting across from Shen Qingyan was Yang Yuting, who couldn't help but widen her eyes in disbelief. He gave up on Tsinghua and Peking University. You also gave up on Tsinghua and Peking University. You two both chose Donghai University. Even if Zhang Yichen is a block of wood, he should have reacted by now. Right? Shen Qingyan took a sip of her milk tea, her posture elegant and composed. She smiled lightly. He's not made of wood. Of course he understands. Yang Yuting grew even more puzzled. Then, he should just go ahead and confess to you. Or you could just tell him directly. It's easy for a girl to pursue a boy. You should confess. Shen Qingyan shook her head. Neither is appropriate. Have you forgotten about what happened with Lin Muyao before? Yang Yuting was stunned. Then she reacted, realization dawning on her. You mean? Shen Qingyan hummed in agreement, a slight glint in her eyes, as if she had seen through everything, giving sincerely but receiving nothing in return. After being hurt once, one will always become more cautious, for fear of being hurt again. It's not really related to Lin Muyao. Shen Qingyan put down her milk teacup. Her expression was cool and composed, yet it was as if she had victory in her grasp. The corners of her mouth curved up slightly. There's no need to say it out loud. Just like now. Slowly boiling the frog, let him gradually get used to and like being together like this. Let him discover his own feelings bit by bit. By the time he realizes it, hell have already taken the bait. Little Chen, how can you escape from my grasp? I was just as confident, calm, composed, and scheming. Little school beauty. I am a dignified reincarnator. My heart is as firm as a rock. Do you think a girl like you can easily control me? The boy and the girl were both full of confidence. Both thought they had seen through the truth and had victory in their hands, and each of them was rubbing their hands, preparing for a long-term battle of wits and skill with the other. And in the end, their two best and closest friends couldn't help but ask the question. Yang Yuding looked at Shen Qingyan, her tone curious. All this talk has been about how to pursue Jiang Yi Chen and get him to take the bait. But what about you? How much do you actually like him? Xu Feng also looked at me, his face full of doubt. Brother Chen, don't just talk about the class president's feelings. What are your feelings for the class president, really? Shen Qingyan was stunned. I was stunned too. Both the boy and the girl were caught off guard by the question. Flustered, they immediately stood up awkwardly, a little embarrassed, angry, and panicked. That's not important. That evening, it was the familiar gathering of the four of them again. Looking at my school beauty deskmate, I cupped my hands righteously. Classmate Shen, we will be at the same university in the future. I hope you'll look after me. The girl nodded slightly. Her expression was cool, natural, and she returned the gesture seriously. You're too polite. We're deskmates. It's what I should do. Not far ahead was a milk tea shop. The speaker was broadcasting an ad for a buy one get one free couples milk tea. The girl looked at me, her tone indifferent. Look, buy one get one free. That's a great deal. I didn't think twice. Then we have to take advantage of this deal. And so, the girl generously extended her hand towards me, her posture as elegant as a princess. I understood. I bowed like a knight and took the girl's hand, and held it. The two of them just held hands openly as they walked towards the milk tea shop, leaving the actual couple, Xu Feng and Yang Yuding, stunned in place. Xu Feng couldn't help but have black lines all over his face. Aren't those two just playing games with each other again? If they keep dragging it out like this, when will they ever get together? But Yang Yuding was thinking about something else. Looking at the backs of the two, walking away hand in hand, she shook her head and smiled. It doesn't matter. Two fools who know perfectly well but are still pretending. They're just being stubborn. Right now, compared to a real couple, is there really any difference? Something big also happened this summer, giving me a reason to temporarily escape the battle of wits with my school beauty deskmate. It was Mother Jiang's plan to start a business and open a shop. Mother Jiang, Zhao Shuqin, had successfully resigned from the state-owned factory. With a severance package in hand, she began to plan her startup. At first, Mother Jiang was a little hesitant. She wasn't sure what she should choose to do. After all, she had spent decades in a state-owned factory with a stable job. Now, she actually had to go out and work for herself. The future was unclear, and there was always a sense of unease and anxiety. I suggested to my mother, Mom, how about we open a pastry shop? On one hand, it was the prophetic vision of a reincarnator. It was very clear that after 2007, in the small town of Yunnan, the business of high-end pastry shops would gradually develop. There was a pretty good market for it. Not to say one could get rich quick and make a fortune, but in my past life, there was a pastry shop chain like that. It opened 7 or 8 branches in Yunnan County at once and built its own brand, and had a fairly large loyal customer base. On the other hand, my mother was naturally good at baking and making sweets. She had a knack for it. Doing what you're good at is always a bit easier. And there's a third very important point. In my past life, when I was in university, I even worked part-time at a high-end pastry shop in Donghai City. I worked there part-time for over a year. From making various types of bread and desserts, to their popularity levels, I knew it all like the back of my hand. Mother and I researched and discussed it for several days, and finally decided on the next steps, the product menu and the concept for opening the shop. The shop's location was chosen in advance, right near our neighborhood, at a main road intersection with heavy foot traffic. It was also near several kindergartens, middle schools, and high schools. Even the shop itself was a high-end breakfast shop that was being transferred, which saved half the effort on decorations. It took about half a month to hire enough staff. The shop was also decorated according to the design concept I provided. The renovations were completed. The signboard was made to fit the style. The simple, rustic style of a small county. The name Hao Zai Lai Bakery sounds a bit rustic but is easy to remember, easy to pronounce. 3 days before the bakery's official opening, as I was rubbing my hands eagerly, impatient to try, preparing to help my mother build her empire, in the pastry world of Yunnan County. That afternoon, the shop unexpectedly welcomed its first customer. Ding dong. The glass door of the shop was pushed open, along with the crisp sound of the wind chime hanging on the door. A slender and beautiful figure pushed the door and walked in, ignoring someone's dazed gaze. In a long, light blue dress, the girl with a refined and charming aura smiled and greeted Mother Jiang, who was standing behind the counter in the shop, sweetly. Mom. Mother Jiang, Xiao Shuqin, heard the voice and turned to look. With a look of pleasant surprise, she quickly walked over to greet her. Oh my, Qingyan. Why are you here? The girl intimately and naturally linked arms with Mother Jiang. My godmother is opening a new shop. Of course, I have to come and help out. One sentence was enough to make Mother Jiang smile from ear to ear. Then, Shen Qingyan tilted her head slightly, looking at me standing beside her with a dumbfounded expression. She raised an eyebrow slightly. What's wrong? Seeing the silly look on my face, Shen Qingyan felt a little smug inside. This little brat thought he could secretly hide this from me. Little did he know. She had already gone through her best friend, asking Yang Yuding to first ask Xu Feng, someone's best friend, and found out that I was busy helping my family start a business recently. Then she called her godmother and confirmed the plans for the bakery's opening. That's why there was this scene of a divine soldier descending from heaven today. Shen Qingyan's thoughts were now very clear. She was determined to fully implement her plan to conquer her deskmate. She had to act simultaneously from multiple angles and directions. It wasn't just about attacking me alone. Winning over the parents first was also a brilliant move. The corners of the girl's mouth curled up. Originally, with her familiarity and understanding of how to get along with Father Jiang and Mother Jiang in her past life, it would be very easy to once again win the favor and affection of the two elders. Now that her godmother was busy with the new shop's opening, this goddaughter, without hesitation, stepped up to help and offer ideas. Bustling about, wouldn't this make the godmother who already adored her love her to the bone? At that time, what godmother? That would be her actual mother-in-law. What goddaughter? She would instantly become the official daughter-in-law. She began to calculate and daydream in advance about the future scene of a mother-in-law and daughter-in-law living together. Extremely harmonious and wonderful. Little Yi Chen would be responsible for serving tea and water by the side, washing her feet. Shen Qingyan was about to burst into laughter inside, until Mother Jiang beside her couldn't help but call out with some concerned confusion. Qingyan. Qingyan. What is this silly girl laughing about by herself? The girl then came back to her senses. Her spirits immediately lifted. It's nothing. Mom. How are the preparations for your shop coming along? Let me take a look for you. Give you some suggestions. Helping with Mother Jiang's soon-to-open bakery, offering suggestions. Shen Qingyan was full of confidence and certainty. In her past life, her listed company had shopping malls as one of its main business segments. Regarding the opening of various types of shops, layout, marketing, and product selection, she was sufficiently familiar and knowledgeable. Although the bakery business was not within Shen Qingyan's area of expertise, as a reincarnator, with a vision and experience more than 10 years ahead of the future, made her believe she could easily help Mother Jiang grow this bakery bigger and stronger in this small county. Having made up her mind, Shen Qingyan was immediately filled with ambition and confidence. She started preparing to help her godmother by carefully examining the issues within the bakery. But as she began to look around the bakery, which had just been renovated, she discovered that this bakery was surprisingly well decorated. In her past life, in the shopping malls that Shen Qingyan managed, there were also a few high-end pastry shops and bakeries. She had even personally led her subordinates to inspect the situation at some of the stores. For those truly outstanding bakeries, she had a rather deep impression of how they should be decorated and laid out. She originally thought that with the backward experience of a small county and the newly emerging bakery-type stores, plus the fact that Mother Jiang had no relevant experience, this newly opened Hao Zai Lai bakery would surely have many problems and shortcomings that needed improvement. But now, the decorative layout in the shop that met her eyes was almost up to standard. The girl turned to look at Mother Jiang. Did you arrange all of this, Mom? Her tone carried a hint of disbelief. But Mother Jiang just laughed and waved her hand at the question. How could I have such skills? It was all Yi Chen's idea. The decoration and arrangement in this shop, the copper display shelves, the spotlights and all that. He decided on all of it. Just a kid. I don't know where he gets so many strange ideas. Although her tone sounded like she was blaming him, it clearly carried a few hints of unconcealable pride. Shen Qingyan was stunned to hear this. She turned to look at me with even more disbelief. You came up with it? Her mouth was about to form a cute O shape. My little deskmate has this kind of ability. I nodded happily, calmly and composedly. Yeah, just winged it. My tone was extremely casual. In reality, I was thrilled and openly smug inside. It's rare to be able to surprise the little school beauty. It really makes me look so cool. I was overjoyed inside, but I didn't forget to remind my mother. Mom, don't forget what I told you last time. When the time comes, the display of bread and sweets and cookies in the shop also has its rules. The golden spot, stack the signature. High-profit products there. Fill up a large area to enhance the visual effect. On the lower level, put the delicious, nutritious, and cheap snacks that kids like. Kids are short, so the first thing they see is the lower level. When we open, we'll do some more marketing. Go to the print shop to make some flyers and coupons to give out at the opening. Every time a customer refers a new one, we can give them another coupon with a deeper discount. Shen Qingyan listened from the side, a little dazed. Isn't this the Pinduoduo model? Who on earth is the reincarnated one? In the bakery, I was clearly speaking with enthusiasm. When the time comes, it's best to be at the shop's entrance. Organize a small tasting event, free samples. Put out the best-looking, freshest items, things that are eye-catching, and also the most fragrant items, so that students passing by and adults 2 streets away can smell it. Even good wine fears a deep alley. We have to use every method to attract people first. As long as you give people that first free bite, once they're tempted, they'll naturally come into the shop to look and start shopping, compared to just hanging up a sign and leaving it alone. It's much more attractive. I was speaking animatedly over here, full of excitement. Mother Jiang, Zhao Shukin, listened, a bit confused. But as the chairwoman of a listed company in her past life, Shen Qingyan was able to grasp the essence and subtlety of my words. Many of these ideas, 10+ years later, or even just a few years later, would no longer be novel. But in this era of 2007, in the small county of Yunnan, a marketing and promotion plan that was so systematic and mature could be considered thinking ahead of its time. She couldn't help but speak up. How did you think of all this? I didn't blink an eye. My face wasn't red. My heart wasn't racing. I dreamed it. A huge question mark appeared above the girl's head. That sounded completely unbelievable. Unless my little deskmate was also reincarnated. This thought flashed through her mind. Shen Qingyan couldn't help but laugh to herself. But reality wasn't a novel. How could reincarnation happen in pairs? Shen Qingyan looked at me, raising an eyebrow slightly. You know all this. So do you know how to make bread too? Being asked this, my spirits lifted. Nice. Someone was actively playing along with my act. Of course. A moment later, in the bakery's kitchen, watching my skilled movements, like a seasoned baker, from mixing ingredients to proofing and resting the dough, a series of kneading steps, all in one smooth motion. The girl standing beside me was dazed again, unable to help but widen her eyes. She just felt it was both novel and unbelievable. Her little deskmate really knew how. The diary she read in her past life didn't mention any of this. But after watching for a while, Shen Qingyan herself felt a little itch to try. Eager to try, let me try. The school beauty deskmate took the initiative to ask. I glanced at Shen Qingyan in surprise. Then I happily handed her a few lumps of kneaded and proofed dough. Then helped me cut these into small pieces. While I bowed my head and continued with other steps, Shen Qingyan took the lumps of dough, looked at the sample I had just cut, and also picked up a small knife to imitate me. The chairwoman of a listed company in her past life was good at everything in the business world, except for life skills. Her cooking skill was zero. This was almost the first time she had seriously held a knife. Her knife skills seemed a bit clumsy. While cutting the dough, the girl couldn't help but secretly gaze at her deskmate beside her. The teenager's handsome and refined profile, amidst the orderly busyness, exuded a strangely peaceful atmosphere. Shen Qingyan was a little lost in the sight and carelessly let the sharp knife in her hand slip. Hearing the girl's soft cry of pain, I immediately turned my head to look and saw my school beauty deskmate frowning tightly, revealing a pained expression. A streak of blood appeared on the finger she was holding. You cut your hand. Let me see. I quickly stepped forward, grabbed the school beauty deskmate's hand, and took a look. I couldn't help but frown. The wound wasn't very deep, but it was a cut nearly 2 centimeters long. Wait a moment. I quickly turned to the toolbox nearby, found rubbing alcohol and a bandage, and returned to carefully help the school beauty disinfect her injured finger. Then I carefully applied the bandage. After finishing all this, I finally let out a sigh of relief. 2 days later, Hao Zai Lai Bakery officially opened. The marketing and promotion preparations over the past few days had a huge effect after the cartoon cookies were put on sale at convenience stores and the Quan Le Fou supermarket. Within 2 short days, they attracted countless children and parents, as well as the attention and love of young students. They were immediately sold out, with demand exceeding supply. The Hao Zai Lai signboard on the cookie packaging was also naturally remembered by people. So on the bakery's opening day, there was naturally a group of admiring customers, coupled with the shop's unique and exquisite decoration, simple yet stylish. It further attracted the curiosity and attention of a large number of passers-by. Customers poured in and were quickly captivated by the large number of baked goods and pastries, displayed in a scientific and perfect manner, especially under the enhancement of the exquisite, elegant copper display shelves and the light from each mini spotlight. Every piece of bread, toast, and pastry radiated an enticing glow that made one's mouth water. How could the people of a small county have ever seen this kind of high-class appeal? They immediately went wild. A frantic buying spree ensued. It directly caused the 3 bakers Mother Jiang hired in the back kitchen and the 2 cashiers at the front counter to be so busy they were dizzy and couldn't stop. But they were also extremely excited and happy, sweating profusely but still tireless, facing the bustling, prosperous scene of the bakery. As the ones who contributed greatly, Shen Qingyan and I just stood by, enjoying and witnessing it. Time passed quietly. Starting from mid-July, acceptance letters from major universities were sent by mail, delivered to each house, into the hands of high school graduates. Yang Yuding and Xu Feng had successively received letters from Hangshang University of Technology and Hangshang Institute of Engineering. By the end of July, the 2 acceptance letters from Donghai University were also received by Shen Qingyan and me. At this point, the beginning of a new university life, the holiday had quietly entered its countdown. Along with the acceptance letters came the registration date for new students. Yang Yuding's Hangshang University of Technology was on August 27th. Xu Feng's Institute of Metrology was on the 29th, only 2 days apart. Xu Feng planned to go early, with his beloved wife, to check things out in advance, and conveniently do the manual labor, responsible for carrying bags and luggage for his girlfriend, especially to appear in front of the other new students at the University of Technology, to seriously declare his sovereignty over Yang Yuding. This beauty is already taken. You brats better not even think about touching my woman. As for Donghai University for Shen Qingyan and me, the registration day for new students was earlier. August 17th meant that the two of us also had to say goodbye to our best friends early and take one step ahead on the path to university life. Regarding this, whether it was Yang Yuding or Xu Feng, both couldn't help but feel a little disappointed and dejected. You guys are leaving so early? We originally wanted to spend the Qiqi Festival with you. The Qiqi Festival in 2007 was on August 19th of the solar calendar, which was just 2 days before, or even earlier then, when my school beauty deskmate and I had to leave for Donghai. As for Xu Feng's and Yang Yuding's words, I had a righteous expression. What does the Qiqi Festival have to do with us? You two can celebrate it yourselves. But when Shen Qingyan heard these words, her eyes lit up slightly, as if she was thinking about something. Qiqi Festival. Huh. In any case, after receiving the acceptance letters and confirming the registration date for new students, the four of them's gatherings and fun during this summer were finally coming to an end. As the day of separation approached, the four of them didn't say much, but in reality, they cherished the moments of fun together even more. They hung out together more often, wandering through all the streets and alleys of the small Yunnan County, checking in at all the delicious eateries. Occasionally, they would also go to Mother Jiang's newly opened bakery to help with the increasingly prosperous business of Hao Zai Lai Bakery. The two girls were at the front counter, responsible for cashiering and consulting. Shen Qingyam was originally the recognized school beauty of Yunnan High School. With a noble aura, her beauty was stunning. Yang Yuding was also the class beauty, top tier, impeccable in both looks and temperament. The two of them wore the bakery's staff uniforms and aprons, smiling sweetly at the customers, which directly caused the number of male customers in the shop to increase several times over. As for Xu Feng and I, the two guys, we were in charge of the heavy labor in the kitchen, helping the bakers knead dough and bake bread, tired and drenched in sweat. Occasionally, when we came out to the front to take a break, we would see the two girls smiling and welcoming customers at the front counter. Every male customer, regardless of age, old or young, fell for the smiles of the two beautiful staff members and dazedly bought a huge pile of bread and cookies, enough to last until the new year. When they left, they were reluctant to go, taking one step and looking back 3 times. Xu Feng couldn't help but feel indignant watching this. Look at that. This is what men are. Then he turned to look at me. He earnestly advised, Brother Chen, when you get to university, you have to be careful. You must keep a close eye on the class president. If the class president gets snatched away by some other bastard, you'll have no one to cry to. I took a sip of water, my face unchanging. We just have a pure deskmate relationship. I don't know what you're talking about. Xu Feng complained. Fine. 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 Keep lying to yourself. Let's see how long you can keep it up. Xu Feng's gaze unintentionally swept over Shen Qingyan at the counter. Suddenly, as if he thought of something, he perked up. He leaned close to my side, secretly lowering his voice. Brother Chen, have you noticed? After the class president did that business with you last time, it seems she's been changing her style of dress often. And it's always the socks. Today, over-the-knee socks. Tomorrow, slouchy socks. The day after, black socks. Then white socks. My God, it's too devilish. Is she targeting you? I almost choked on my water and coughed, then continued to try to stay calm, my face unchanging. I don't know what you're talking about. It's just a coincidence. Although my mouth said so calmly, my eyes unconsciously glanced towards my school beauty deskmate at the cashier counter. The girl stood straight in her staff uniform and apron. Below her skirt, a section of her slender and well-proportioned calf was revealed. Today, the school beauty deskmate was wearing a pair of small brown leather shoes. Above the shoe, a section of her ankle was revealed, fair, slender, and with a bit of white lace sock trim. The pupils in my eyes trembled violently. Vixen. On the other side, Shen Qingyan was also chatting with Yang Yuding. Yang Yuding had also noticed the changing details in her recent regular attire and couldn't help but ask curiously. Shen Qingyan replied nonchalantly, It's nothing. I am just conducting a controlled variable experiment. Hearing this, a question mark appeared above Yang Yuding's head. What experiment? A study on the types of different socks and their appeal and lethality on a certain little deskmate. At the beginning of August, a few days before leaving, the four of them discussed again. Xu Feng suggested that the group go for one last overnight camping trip on Yushan Mountain to hang out for a day. The other three happily agreed. On the day of departure, when they met at the designated spot, Xu Feng and I, the two guys, was in charge of bringing all sorts of camping equipment and the tent. The two girls were the same, carrying large and small bags. They didn't seem to be carrying any less than the boys, which made Xu Feng and I look on with question marks above our heads. The guys were already carrying all the necessary things. Why did these two highnesses still have so much stuff? Yang Yuding counted on her fingers, listing out the snacks one by one. Wet wipes, disposable tablecloths, picnic mats, tissues, lipstick, lotion, makeup remover. Girls need to prepare a lot of things. I listened with lines forming on my face. I turned to look at my campus belle deskmate. You two. Shen Qingyan said calmly, I have one more thing than Yuding. I was puzzled. One more thing? The girl glanced at me lightly, her cherry lips parting. She uttered one word. Stockings. I calmly and composedly said, "Oh." I nonchalantly turned my head away as if nothing had happened. From an angle others wouldn't notice. The pupils in my eyes contracted violently again. I was utterly shocked. A vixen bringing stockings to a mountain camping trip. Is that reasonable or not? But it also depends on what kind of stockings you're bringing. What good girl would bring those kinds of stockings camping? The evil dragon in my heart roared. Of course. I only dared to roar a few times in my heart. Looking at the back of my campus belle deskmate who had already gotten on the bus, I couldn't help but feel a helpless headache. Lately, it seems I am becoming less and less able to withstand the attacks of my campus belle deskmate. At this rate, my firm Yao heart is about to have problems. More importantly, I clearly know she's deliberately provoking me, and yet, I actually kind of want to see it. Even now, looking at the backpack the girl is wearing, there's only one thought in my mind. So, what my campus belle deskmate brought. What kind of stockings are they exactly? We rode the bus all the way to the foot of Yushan Mountain. The four of us carried our luggage and equipment in large and small bags. We followed the mountain path upwards. Yumon County was named because it's located south of Yushan Mountain. The mountain was lush with green trees, and the environment was tranquil. Taking a deep breath made me feel refreshed and relaxed. It was like being in a natural oxygen bar. Half an hour later, when all four of us were panting slightly and sweating a little, we smoothly reached our destination. A clearing in the forest halfway up the mountain. We put down our luggage and tools, big and small. Yufeng immediately started arranging things cheerfully. Brother Chen and I will set up the tents first. Yuding and the class president can go find some dry branches and firewood. Well, start a fire and cook later. And so, the four of us split up and got busy. For this camping trip, we brought 2 tents in total. Right now, Yufeng and I were each taking one. We started assembling and setting them up. In my past life, after I started working, I also organized outdoor activities with my colleagues. I had camping experience, so assembling the tent now went very smoothly. On the other hand, Yufeng was full of confidence at first. He thought he didn't need the instruction manual. The result was a clumsy mess, getting everything wrong. By the time Shen Qingyan and Yang Yuding, the 2 girls, came back holding a pile of dry firewood and branches, my tent was already set up, but the tent Yufeng was responsible for next to it was still a limp pile on the ground, completely shapeless. With just your level of skill, you still brag about being an outdoor expert. Yang Yuding shot her boyfriend a contemptuous look. She turned to look at the tent I set up, praising with some surprise. Jiang Yichen, you set that up really fast. Do you have camping experience? I smiled and waved my hand. Hey, I learned later. I stopped halfway, suddenly realizing something was wrong. I almost gave myself away, seeing Shen Qingyan, Yang Yuding, and Yufeng looking at me with puzzled eyes. I thought quickly on my feet, immediately changing my tune and singing. I finally learned how to love, but it's a pity you left long ago. Disappeared into the sea of people. A sudden rendition of Later was presented. The 3 people beside me listened, stunned. I maintained a calm and natural expression. Oh, it's nothing. I just suddenly felt like singing. Having finished setting up my tent, I turned to help Yufeng assemble his, while the 2 of us worked together to set up the tent. The 2 girls had found enough firewood. Some of the larger dry logs needed to be chopped into smaller pieces with the small axe we brought. Yang Yuding tried twice with the small axe, but the result was either missing the mark, or not having enough strength, failing to split the log. Yufeng saw this and immediately volunteered. Yuding, just leave it. Don't worry. I'll chop it after I finish setting up the tent. And at that moment, Shen Qingyan's voice rang out, no need. Let me. I saw the girl step forward and take the axe. She gripped it with both hands, stood firm, her posture and movements perfectly standard. Taking a light breath, the girl's eyes narrowed slightly, and the axe was raised. Then, she aimed at the log and swung down with precision and speed. The log split in 2 with the sound of the axe. Yufeng watched with wide eyes. Then came the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th logs. The girl chopped firewood like flowing water, succeeding in one go. In just a moment, she had chopped all the collected firewood into small pieces, piled them up, and looking at the girl, her face wasn't red, and her breathing wasn't heavy. It seemed as if she had just done a simple, trivial task. Yufeng was amazed. Class president, you have this skill too. I couldn't help but be a little surprised as well. I looked at my campus belle deskmate, Shen Qingyan, and smiled faintly. In her past life, she was also an outdoor travel enthusiast. Moreover, she was a professional. She had gone mountain climbing and camping alone countless times. Although she was clumsy with a knife in the kitchen, setting up tents, chopping firewood, and starting fires were trivial matters for her. Yang Yuding looked at her best friend. She was in slight disbelief. Qingyan, I've never heard you say you knew how to do these things before. Shen Qingyan shook her head naturally. I didn't know how before. I learned later. Halfway through her sentence, the girl also froze. She suddenly realized Shed almost slipped up. She immediately changed her words. Finally, I understood through tears. Some people, once you miss them, are gone forever. She also started singing. The girl tried to remain calm, pretending as if nothing had happened. I think this song is pretty good too. Xu Feng and Yang Yuding were suspicious. They looked at Shen Qingyan and then at me. You two are really in sync. As for the girl and I, we glanced at each other. Both of us couldn't help but feel a little guilty. Yeah, deskmates should have some chemistry. At the same time, both of us had looks of relieved luck. That was close. So close. We almost exposed ourselves as reincarnators. The tents were set up, and a pile of firewood was chopped. Next, the four of them started a fire to cook. For convenience and to save effort, for this camping trip, they had prepared ingredients in advance, mainly things that were easy to grill, like corn and sweet potatoes. There were also a few packs of instant noodles and some pre-made skewers bought from the store. I found a few rocks to build 2 temporary fire pits. Then, I stuffed branches and dry wood inside, leaving some space. I used a lighter to light it. Xu Feng, acting like an expert, commented from the side, "Hey, actually, it would be more primitive to use a fire drill. Using a lighter is less interesting." I glanced at my best friend. "Then you can eat interesting later." "Well, eat the grilled food." 2 fire pits. One had a small pot placed on top, with a few packs of noodles thrown in, waiting for it to boil. The other one had the special grill rack we brought. I placed the skewers on it one by one, brushed them with oil, avoiding the open flames. I started to slowly turn and grill them. I also casually threw a few sweet potatoes and potatoes into the fire without wrapping them in foil. Camping in this era wasn't that sophisticated. The few of us sat by the fire, chatting, while waiting for the fire to be ready for cooking. They just kept talking and laughing. When they got hungry, they snacked on some things to tide them over. Only I was the busiest at this moment, tending to 2 fires by myself. On this side, I had to occasionally flip the skewers, making sure not to burn them. On the other side, I had to watch the flames of the bonfire, adding some wood or another rock to block the wind. The instant noodles were cooked first, and the skewers were almost done. I scooped the noodles into a few small bowls, a little for each person. Then everyone took a few skewers. They all ate with great appetite. It wasn't necessarily better than at a restaurant, but it was still very fragrant. The potatoes and sweet potatoes took a bit more time and effort, but by the time everyone had finished the noodles and skewers, they were almost cooked. I took a branch and dug the potatoes and sweet potatoes out of the fire. Xu Feng was impatient and hurriedly grabbed a few. The result was that as soon as he picked them up, he got burned and winced in pain. He couldn't hold them steady in his hands, juggling them back and forth like a circus act. After they cooled down a bit, I picked up a potato and casually handed it to my campus belle deskmate. "Try it." Shen Qingyan happily took it. Her long, slender fingers carefully peeled off the charred black skin. She took a small bite. It was fragrant, sweet, soft, and chewy. The girl narrowed her eyes slightly, showing a look of contentment. "It's delicious." But because the potato skin wasn't wrapped in foil, it was charred black. So when the girl took that bite, she didn't seem to notice that the corner of her mouth got a little dirty with soot. I reminded her, "The corner of your mouth is dirty." Shen Qingyan raised an eyebrow, seemingly completely unaware. I pointed with my hand, but my campus belle deskmate still didn't seem to get it. She tried to wipe it herself but carelessly wiped the wrong spot. Finally, I decided to take action myself. I took a wet wipe and reached over, and carefully helped my campus belle deskmate wipe the soot from the corner of her mouth. "There, it's done." Shen Qingyan seemed to suddenly realize. She nodded at me. "Thanks." While the corner of her mouth unintentionally curved up slightly. At the same time, the girl was already smiling with her eyes in her heart, like a little fox, easily getting her way. After eating a self-made lunch at the campsite, they did a quick cleanup and temporarily extinguished the fire. Yang Yuding suggested going up a bit further to wander around, so the 4 of them stood up and temporarily left the campsite. They found the stone-paved mountain path and continued climbing. After climbing for a while, the easy stone steps gradually disappeared. The mountain path became a bit steep and slippery. Shen Qingyan glanced at me without saying anything. She casually held out her slender, fair little hand. Having learned from the experience at the park mountain last time, I very consciously took my campus belle deskmate's small hand. The 2 of us continued upward like that. Yang Yuding, walking behind, watched with a bit of envy. She also looked towards her boyfriend, her tone coquettish. "Xu Feng, the road is a bit steep. It's so hard to walk." The result was little Xu's reply in the next second. Classmate Xu replied confidently, "It's okay. I am super good at climbing mountains. Honey, watch this." While speaking, classmate little Xu took 2 steps for every 3 and climbed a long way in one go. Then he even turned back to enthusiastically call his honey. "Honey, hurry up. Don't fall behind." Yang Yuding suddenly felt like changing boyfriends. The altitude of Yushan Mountain wasn't considered high. It only took the 4 of them 20 minutes to get from halfway up the mountain to the summit, but looking out from the summit, it still invoked a heroic feeling. That sense of seeing all mountains as small from this height. In the distance was the entire Yumen County, the hometown that had nurtured these teenagers for 18 years. Standing on the summit, Xu Feng took a deep breath and let out an excited shout at the top of his lungs, the echo reverberating. Yang Yuding beside him also followed suit. She cupped her hands around her mouth like a megaphone and also shouted loudly. After shouting, their whole mood seemed to become relaxed and open. I stood by and watched with a smile, feeling a bit emotional inside as well. I inadvertently glanced at my campus belle deskmate beside me and found that at this moment, the girl was looking around the summit, a little dazed and lost in thought. Soon, the four of them returned from the summit along the same path. On the way down, they were still talking and laughing, but I noticed that my campus belle deskmate was clearly a bit restless and distracted. Occasionally, the girl seemed to turn her head towards the summit and glance back. When we returned to the campsite, it was already dark. Night was falling. The four of them started the campfire again and gathered around the fire to cook again. It was still instant noodles plus skewers and a pile of potatoes and sweet potatoes. After eating for a while, Xu Feng somehow even pulled out a bottle of Erguo-2 liquor. 1 second, he was making grand pronouncements, raising his glass with heroic spirit. Come on. Ill down this glass. A toast to our friendship. The next second, he was drunkenly passed out on Yang Yuding's lap, slurring his words, which made the other three not know whether to laugh or cry. After dinner, I struggled to throw my best friend into the tent to rest. Yang Yuding, as his girlfriend, was a little worried, and went in to take care of him. With the young couple in the tent, I couldn't very well stay and be a third wheel. I came out of the tent and saw my campus belle deskmate stand up from by the fire. She turned to look at me. Jiang Yichen, come up to the summit with me again. As she spoke, the girl's expression was calm and serene. I couldn't see any change in her mood. I was stunned. I nodded. Okay. Climbing a mountain at night is harder than during the day. The light was dim, making it hard to see the mountain path. I held my campus belle deskmate's hand and carefully walked up. Neither of us spoke much during the whole process. For some reason, I vaguely felt that the girl's mood was unusually down. Finally, we stepped past the last patch of land, pushing aside the old branches blocking the path. The two of us reached the summit again. Our vision suddenly opened up. Tonight, there was no moon, no wind, no clouds. Above us was a vast sky full of stars, gathered like a sea. Looking up at this starry sky, my whole mood seemed to become peaceful. At this moment, the girl's clear and pleasant voice rang out. When I was little, my mom also brought me to climb Yushan Mountain. I froze. I instinctively looked up ahead. My campus belle deskmate had let go of my hand at some point. She walked a few steps forward, her back facing me, looking up at the night sky, dazed and lost in thought. Under the sparkling starlight of this scene, the girl's slender figure looked cool and fragile. Her voice was still calm, tinged with reminiscence. I was only 5 then. I just remember Yushan Mountain seemed very high. The stairs were steep, but Mom held my hand, and I felt so safe, so warm. That day, we stayed on the summit until very late, until so many stars like this appeared in the sky. Mom told me that soon she would also become a star in the sky. Later on, if I missed her, so much that I couldn't help but cry, I should look up, because she would be in the sky, always watching over me. The summit was quiet. Only the girl's soft recounting of her memories echoed calmly under the night sky, neither fast nor slow. But at this point, the girl paused. Looking up at the starry sky, Mom lied. I've counted so many stars so many times, but I've never found her. Her calm voice at this moment trembled slightly at the end, causing one's heart to throb intensely. Jiang Yichen, I am here. You owe me 3 conditions. Now I want to use the first condition. Along with her voice, Shen Xingyan turned to look at me. I also saw my campus belle deskmate's face clearly at this moment. Under the starlight, the girl's face before me was still, incomparably pure and beautiful. The rims of the girl's eyes were slightly red, but she tried to maintain a cold expression, facing my gaze. She was stubbornly proud, unwilling to let others see her weakness. Hug me. Bathed in the clear starlight, the girl's figure was slender and fragile. Her expression still tried to maintain a cold demeanor. She looked straight into my eyes, not flinching, not avoiding. Even now, when she clearly hoped for comfort, she still pretended to be as calm as usual. Her normal tone was just a request for me to fulfill my earlier promise. My gaze softened slightly. Perhaps what I saw at this moment was the true appearance behind the cold exterior of my campus belle deskmate. No matter how proud and cold a person is, they eventually have a soft spot in their heart, one that is not easily touched. Yet the girl before me was able to say such words to me, even though she still pretended to be calm, as if nothing was wrong. But it was like the most stubborn and sharp-tongued little animal, anxiously and uneasily, showing its soft belly. To me, without any reservation, this was a heavy trust. For me, it was a great fortune. I walked straight up, in front of my campus belle deskmate, and gently wrapped my arms around the girl before me, soft and warm in my arms. I could smell the faint fragrance from the girl's hair. At this moment, not a single impure thought crossed my mind. I just quietly held her, feeling the warmth of this hug. Shen Qingyan's slender body tensed slightly, then it slowly relaxed and softened. She also reached out and gently hugged my back, then she hugged a little tighter. The starry sky was brilliant and dazzling. The boy and girl on the summit held each other in silence. I don't know how much time passed. Feeling my campus belle deskmate in my arms, her body gradually relaxing and softening, her mood also seemed to calm down. I looked up at the starry sky and suddenly blurted out a sentence. I am super good at counting stars. It'll help you find her next time. No kidding. I cultivated for 3 years in the observatory on the roof of the school's admin building. That's no boast. In one night, I counted 382 stars in one go. The martial world bestowed upon me the title Great Emperor of Star Counting. My words made Shen Qingyan unable to hold back a soft chuckle. But after laughing, she wrapped her arms around me even tighter, buried her face in my shoulder, and softly said, "Thank you." Just a simple thank you like that carried a gentle melody that seemed to twist and turn 1,000 times, making one's heart flutter. I couldn't help but smile. "You're welcome." Sensing that my campus belle deskmate's mood had improved a lot, I was about to loosen my arms from around her, but as I was about to let go, I felt the girl in my arms hugging me a little tighter with her own arms. "Jiang Yichen, don't I still have 2 conditions left?" I was slightly stunned. I nodded slightly. "Then use another one." My second condition is that you promise me 3 more conditions." Huh. Without the slightest hesitation, I instantly let go of the campus belle in my arms. "Women, thy name is Greed." The next day, on the bus ride home from Yushan Mountain, Xu Feng was holding his head with a pained expression, lying limp on the seat, barely breathing. It's so uncomfortable, so uncomfortable." Yang Yuding sat beside him, glaring at her boyfriend unhappily, scolding him. "Serves you right for showing off. You regret it now, don't you?" Xu Feng continued to gasp for air. "I swear never drink Ergu again." He opened the car window for some fresh air. After lying limp on the seat for a while, Xu Feng reluctantly regained some of his spirit. He couldn't help but sneakily sidle up to me and lower his voice. "Brother Chen, I heard you and the class president went up to the summit again last night. How did it go? Did you win her over?" I glared at my best friend. Why is this kid's head full of nothing but winning girls over? Maybe he should change his name to Xu the player. "We just went to the summit to look at the stars." After hearing this, Xu Feng was astonished, his eyes wide. "Damn, that romantic?" Then confessing under the stars would have been even more perfect. Hearing such surprised words from my best friend, I couldn't help but recall last night. The scene under the starry sky on the summit, the breathtakingly beautiful and moving face of my campus belle deskmate, and also, under the witness of billions of stars, the faint fragrance and the softness when we hugged. My heart suddenly skipped a beat. It was indeed very romantic.